Puri. Thank you so much for those words. Very much deep into the sector and what all the government's done. It's extremely clear India is one of the shining examples of what we've done in terms of the LPG world. But we couldn't resist this opportunity to actually ask you a couple of questions on what I think you started out your talk with, which is the general turmoil that's happening in the world and what's happening in the energy market. You clearly stated it well. This is a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon, and there's no one better than you who's developed in the energy system, who's done foreign policy, and this is one where the quagmire is really complex. We want to help you use your opportunity for you to speak a little bit about this and understand what's going on in the energy market.
Thank you very much. May I request my friends to please move to the side. बैठिए या साइड में. Look, let me start by saying you're being very kind. Yes, India has been able to successfully navigate the crisis, or I think there are multiple crises out there, reasonably well so far. But you know, with 39 years of training in diplomacy, I'm not used to using expressions such as shining example, because this is work in progress. There is a crisis. There is a crisis which is comprehensive, it is complicated, it has many points of origin. We're not in a political discussion, so I'll spare you my inner thoughts on who I think is responsible for some of this uncertainty that prevails. But what does a democratically elected government do? A democratically elected government has to ensure, especially where the developmental challenges are enormous. Well, how do I define developmental challenges? Well, we're the world's fifth largest economy, but we also have a very low per capita income. A per capita income is determined by the fact that you have a large number of people who are economically vulnerable. We are going to be from the fifth largest economy, we will be the third largest economy before long, and then we will rise into that time. But what do you have to do meanwhile? One, energy is the lifeline of any economy. If you turn around and say that the energy consumption in an economy is rising, then you are reasonably sure that that economy is firing on all 6 cylinders. If I may be allowed to use the analogy of a 6-cylinder car. For a country like India, which neglected its E&P, exploration and production, for a long period of time, I've been Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister only for a year and 5 months or so, I think. I have said that somehow, because the international situation was perhaps it was benign, it was not so challenging, we allowed the E&P to be subjected to neglect. I even said criminal neglect. We have 3.5 million square kilometers of sedimentary area, and we were only exploiting 6 to 7%. We've changed all that. We have taken out of 3.5 million square kilometers, 1 million square kilometers, which was no-go area. We suddenly opened it up, and the results are shown. We've moved very fast on the data repository. The results are showing. All the oil majors are back. Our gas production last year was what? 18%. This year again, increased 18% up. This year again, it will be another 18% up. But still, the consumption is increasing. So, on crude oil imports and gas imports, you can say we are largely import dependent. And yet, I think what we have succeeded in doing, and this is a modest analysis by my part, that since we are large consumers, we have been able to diversify on crude. And we have been able to buy from wherever it is available at the most economical prices. So, in this quest to navigate energy security, availability, predictability, affordability, yes, we have done reasonably well so far. challenges are still ahead. But I think on that I'll be more optimistic, even more confident. We will face the future challenges because we are much better equipped.
Thank you, Mr. Puri. I think there's a recent article that in a way captures what you said without chest beating in some way. It says basically today's India might be accused of many things, but definitely not of strategic innocence. We're changing power relationships at the highest level, each one on its own merit. And I think that's an apt way of seeing how we have responded in some way.
So, you see, an individual can be accused of innocence. You can make mistakes. You can accuse small groups. But when it comes to security, and here, earlier you looked at security on a limited canvas. It was physical security. It went on. But today, energy security is most fundamental. So if anyone suggests that someone has got, what did you use the word? Strategic innocence. Yeah, I agree with you. If anybody wants to display strategic innocence and also use language which shows that there is strategic innocence. I have been absolutely upfront. So somebody tried to, many people have tried to corner me. You say, don't you have some function going? So I told one young lady, one of your colleagues, from the media yesterday, I said, if you dig a well in your backyard and you find oil there, I'll buy it from you also. So there's no issue. I mean, when international prices on gas went up, obviously we are affected. So you can't expect me to go into the marketplace and start saying, you're doing very well. I said, no. I said, it's a strategic choice that you are exercising. It's your sovereign right to limit the quantity of energy you want to release. No, and then tell you that, no, we don't determine the price. You may not determine the price, but the amount of energy you release will in turn determine the price. If the supply is less than the demand, then price will go up. So I said, that's your choice. Because you have a sovereign right to determine. I mean, if you have a large green vegetable garden, you can decide how much of cauliflower to grow and sell it. And then it depends on the market prices. But for heaven's sake, it will have a consequence. And if you are already in a situation which is characterized by high degrees of inflation on account of the stimulus packages which were put in during the pandemic, it's already inflation. So it's put high energy prices and then you hope that, this is going to rein in the inflation. No. It will perpetuate inflation, it will exacerbate it, and it will make your journey towards the big R. That much for certain. And all I would say is, be my guest, because if the prices goes up and then, you're looking at an app, the demand will drop. So would it not be better to limit the price initially and save everyone else the bother about dealing with it? But, as I said, I don't think anybody can be accused of strategic innocence in this game. Not the producers and not the consumers. But I think some of those who are large consumers are also displaying that they know how to handle the situation, period.
I think it's a very strategic answer in some ways. But let me ask you in the context. I think you raised the case very well because we've got all these multiple crises happening at the same time, and we talk about inflation, cost of living crisis in many parts of the world, the lack of investment in terms of E&P, not just in India in the past, but in the past in other countries as well. And it's all coming together. But there is one commitment we've all made to the world, which is the energy transition, climate and sustainability. How are you, the government, how is India thinking about how we make these two work together?
First of all, if you're looking at multiple crises, I would say cost of living, ease of living, that's part of a larger thing. The main three crises, according to me, are food, fertilizer, and fuel. Those are very basic. And unless you navigate those, the rest will be in free fall. In the Indian case, we are extremely fortunate that we have a political leadership which is very determined and very resolute. Our view on the energy transition has been there's no question, we have to transition. Equally, we have to ensure that transition bridge or the transition within ports is defined in terms of a clear timeline. It is realistic, and more than that, it enables us to survive. I tell you what happened. I was a multinationalist. I was permanent representative in Geneva, New York. I've seen the debate around the Millennium Development Goals. I've seen the debate around the Sustainable Development Goals. The major difference between the SDGs and the SDGs was the SDGs were worked out in a think tank of the West in Paris, the SDGs. Very good objective. When we came to the Sustainable Development Goals, one of the things we insisted on was let the SDGs be worked out from the grassroots level down upward. So that the objectives which are right and so the SDGs which are there now are pretty comprehensive. People worried how will happen will the finance come and etc. Look, as far as India is concerned, the crisis in the traditional energy market has refueled, if I may be allowed to play around with the word, it has reinforced our desire to make the transition. It has worked as an imperative. The transition is now actually taking place much faster. Let me give you an example. 3 or 4 areas. Biofuels, we used to always state at the very important objective. We got from 1.4% biofuels mixing in 2014 to 10% mixing now. We had a target of 20% by 2030. We brought it forward to 2025. We'll have E20 fuel available on a pilot project basis in our pumps before April of next year. Compressed biogas. A few months ago, I used to worry about that. Now I've seen IOCL's plant in Panipat, which is making second generation ethanol from agricultural waste. We'll have 90 million liters of ethanol made from agricultural waste and Dhatu second generation by the end of the month. I've seen what's happening in compressed biogas. As soon as I have a little respite from travel, etc., I'm going to get these gentlemen in the OLCs sitting down with me. Look at the kind of incentives the state of UP is offering on compressed biogas. We have about 43 plants, I think. We have a target of 5,000, and by the end of the first quarter of next year, I'll make sure that many of these projects begin to get a transition and all. Green hydrogen is the case. I mean, look, what do you need for green hydrogen? You need cheap power. I should use the word cheap. You need low-cost power, and you need electrolyzers. Where will green hydrogen succeed? It will succeed in places where you have the capacity to produce, the capacity to store, and the capacity to consume. So by definition, green hydrogen should succeed in places like India, not like the rest of the world around. So I'm not surprised that some of my private sector players who benefited from large amounts of foreign direct investment are now exporting or in the process of exporting green ammonia to Germany. I signed an MOU with the Petroleum Minister the other day for their new electricity turbines made by GE. The green ammonia will be going from here. These are examples of things that are happening. So, biofuels, compressed biogas, second generation ethanol, especially biofuels, green hydrogen, and I can go on and on. But fundamental to this debate or transition, I've talked to the people who set those targets, very ambitious targets on what the sustainability quotient and objectives would be. I don't think they discussed it with the real world players, that is those who provide the energy. They sat in a drawing room all amongst themselves and fixed very ambitious targets. And now when there's a military conflict in one part of the world, they're going back to coal, they're going back to X, they're going back to Y. So if we don't manage it, they'll be going back to firewood. So all I'm saying is, we all have to be realistic about it. In India, thanks to the very well thought through policies of the Prime Minister, we are in a position to set targets. If our net zero target is X, these oil companies have set more ambitious targets for themselves. Of course, they're very happy with it. But I tell them it's easier for a company to set a target than for a country to set a target. But together we will achieve what has to be. And I think the realization is going around in all parts of the world that the energy crisis is here. It's one of the three main crises going on. We need to resolve it, but we'd be better off resolve it by not taking measures which will undermine the situation further. So you need to survive from the present, for which you must ensure that availability and affordability are factored in, especially for the developing world. And then you make the transition, and because you see a problem out there, you will have to build in your safeguard fast.
Mr. Puri, I know we could go on and on, but I know you want to be mindful of your time. So I'm going to draw this to a close. Thank you so much. Thank you for actually throwing some light and creating some clarity for us and understanding that here and now, as you say, we need to survive it, but at the same time, how we can actually do well, walk that tightrope in making that bridge to the future as well.
Thank you very much. But I just want to make one concluding comment. Look, I'm a student of history. And one of the things I've learned is whenever you are faced with a crisis, especially one which is not of your making, there is an opportunity there. There's a challenge, you convert it into an opportunity. And human behavior, look, if you look at the history of the world now I'm not talking about just maybe using, motor cars, like, go even further. People always discover, that is what ingenuity, entrepreneurial skills, innovation is all about. Well, the world has to come to an end. The world has to reinvent itself given those challenges. And I'm confident that the world at large and countries which are facing the brunt of those challenges will find solutions which will be good for themselves and the rest of the world.
Thank you, Mr. Puri. That's a very positive note. It's a very good challenge for all our companies to look for that innovation and bring out those entrepreneurial skills. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.